Okay, it's part two about why I think people should leave Florida because it's not safe anymore. This is some video footage I took in 2005 from Hurricane Wilma. I rode out the storm in Naples, Florida. It was one of the stupidest things I ever did because about 40 to 50 miles south of us there was a little city called Everglades City, little town, and it had 18 feet of water. Where I was filming this from, I was about 2 blocks away from the Gulf of Mexico. So, really, really stupid. Don't know why I wound up staying, but I did, and rode out a hurricane in 2005, so I'm speaking from experience. When Hurricane Katrina came through our neighborhood, it came across the southern peninsula of Florida, and about 4 o'clock in the morning I was tracking the storm, and I woke up and I went outside. It was dark out, and this is the best picture I can find on the internet to describe what I saw. But I saw this big cloud that it looked like a funnel cloud, but it was huge, and it was circulating really slow. The wind wasn't blowing, and it was not really doing anything. It was just this big ominous cloud that came through my neighborhood that sort of looked like this picture here. When I saw that go through my neighborhood, I stayed up all night. I kept tracking the storm, and I actually was up for like 2 or 3 days. I can't remember. I think it was around the late part of August 2005. I went to extremes to try to get a hold of Ray Nagin's office and tell the people to evacuate the city, because like I was telling you before, I had a dream that New Orleans flooded, and I was sure that Katrina was going to blow up into this big storm and hit New Orleans, and sure enough it did. The morning of the storm, a lot of people were saying on the news, oh, it's okay, everything's going to be okay. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I'm just being crazy. But then around 9:30, 10 o'clock, the city started flooding. So I, can't try to explain myself enough how I keep having these dreams, and then I start researching things, and then it actually happens. So this is still happening to me. I just wanted to give people a few examples. The tsunamis, Katrina, 9/11, even little things about stepping on a snake that actually saved my life. If I, hadn't have seen it in a dream, I probably would be dead right now. So it's still going on. This is 2015, and I am still having dreams, and I am still researching. This is showing, that's getting to my point. I live in Florida. All my family and friends are in Florida, and I've been telling people for years about this stuff. I've told my family, I've told my friends, anybody that knows me, you can ask them. I've been telling them about these dreams I've been having for years, and I think there's going to be a string of disasters that hits Florida, and I'm going to give some examples of possibilities, but I don't know what's going to happen for sure. I just know that something's going to happen in Florida, and all I know is what I'm going to try to show you in the video. I made a map. Here is Tampa, where I am right now. All these places that have pinpoints on them are places that I think are going to be affected by disasters in Florida. So getting a good look at that map, you could pretty much draw a line from just north of Tampa over to Daytona and all those coastal areas in that southern region of the state is pretty much what I'm focused on. Now, just for an example, here's another reason why I continue to research. Started looking into different scenarios. Here is the Puerto Rican Trench. just north of Puerto Rico. A lot of people don't realize that we have earthquakes there pretty much every day. I mean, you can look at this earthquake map. Now, they just had an earthquake in Chile about a week ago, and you could see the epicenter right there, and there was a tsunami. Now, this fault line runs up around South America. There's a little break in it right here, but here's another fault line. This is where the Puerto Rican Trench is. That is the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of people don't realize that's right off the coast of Florida, and it could cause a tsunami. Then you have La Palma, which is an island off of Africa. They've been saying for years that that could cause a tsunami. Then what? Also, you have, you know, and then this is another thing that blows my mind. Before I even considered making this video, I look online and I see that there's all these other people that are having dreams about the same thing. You know, this guy says he has a dream that there's going to be a tsunami in Florida. And I'm like, what? So apparently I'm not the only one that's seeing this stuff. Here's a topography map of Florida, and you can see there are deep trenches in the Gulf of Mexico even. I took a class when I went to college briefly, and oceanography class, and my professor at the time told me that, you know, there's a good possibility that the shelf in Florida could collapse because of all the drilling they're doing in these areas up here. Anyways, you know, this is a flood zone map. I'm trying to show the topography of Florida. Here's another scenario. El Nino anomaly that's happening right now could cause extreme weather going all the way into the winter months of 2015 to 2016. Here's something, you know, that I was researching for a documentary, and this is recent. This just happened like a day or two ago. Well, it says September 18th, 4 days ago. You know, they're having trouble in Miami with the sea level rising. I mean, it's not just some political agenda. It's real. The sea level is rising, and we're even starting to see signs of it here in Tampa. You know, you can click on you can research any of these subjects, and you can see that, you know, people have been posting videos about this stuff for a long time. Then of course there's the ice melting all over the world, Greenland, Antarctica, and scientists are getting alarmed because they're saying it's happening at much faster rates than what was originally predicted. Sorry about that. The video got away from me. There it is. What's his father's advice? I skipped the ad. Anyways, this is a little short documentary that somebody made about South Florida's rising seas. I mean, these things are really happening, you know.
Here in Southeast Florida, we are one of the most sea level rise vulnerable places on the earth.
It could be a sunny day, and we could have 2 weeks of a lot of water. And I'm not talking about a puddle here and there.
No one wants to pay increased taxes or fees, but if people want to live here, we have to make these investments to do the infrastructure planning, the pump systems, all the stuff that needs to be done so that we can stay habitable.
I see no.
See, my opinion is there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Because, you know, what are you going to do? Are you going to build a wall around the whole state? So my take on the whole thing is just get out of Florida. Just get out.
The smiles that I see.
Sorry, my computer's getting away from me. Anyways, that's how I've come to all these conclusions. I'll show you some pictures locally of some of the stuff that's been happening. These little fissures have been popping up all over town. Now they're talking about, you know, a $253 million project in Tampa to rebuild the infrastructure here because we're having problems with flooding also, just like Miami. These little weird holes are popping up all over the roads all over town. It's been happening all summer. You know, I've been worried that we might get hit by a hurricane or something, but we seem to be getting through the hurricane season okay. And, you know, you can see signs of the sea level rising all over town. That's a little project off of MacDill Air Force Base where they're rebuilding the seawall on the eastern side. There's little signs all over town that you can see, and even lakes and canals that, you know, haven't had water in them for a long time. You know, here's a little example of how high the water is coming up near the Gandy Bridge. You know, it's coming up onto the roads in some places, you know, onto the service roads at high tide. Here's another example. And you got all these things that are happening all over the area, little flags going up. It's like little warnings from God. You know, here's a canal that hasn't had water in it in years up near Pasco County over the summer, filled up with water. There's lakes that are getting full again, overflowing. We've been having river flooding all summer long. All the rivers are at flood stage, and you know, what's amazing to me is that people see these things happening, but they just go on and on and on living their lives like everything's normal. And when you talk to them about it, they say, oh well, I'm just going to not think about it because I don't have time to worry about stuff like that. I got to think about my family, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And to me, that's like the most ignorant statement I could ever hear anybody say. If you're worried about your family, then wouldn't you want to get them to a safe area? Wouldn't you want to prepare? If you see things, little flags going up all over your neighborhood telling you something's wrong, wouldn't you want to figure out and use common sense to try to at least research it and figure out why these things are happening? You know, so that's what happens in these dreams I have. It's like I'm trying to warn people. I'm running around like a crazy guy trying to tell people. And that's pretty much what's happened to me. I mean, I've been telling people for years and years, you know, I think that all these things are going to happen. I think all these disasters are going to happen in Florida. A lot of them have to do with water. So I don't know if it's a hurricane, tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, some weird anomaly that happens because of the El Nino, or maybe even it's man-made. Maybe it's something we don't even know about yet, you know, like 9/11. Who knows? I don't know what's going to cause these things, but I do know this. I'm seeing signs all over the place in my neighborhood, and I've been seeing it for years. And there's a lot of things that I actually have dreams about, and then I'll start researching, and it blows my mind to find out that these things are actually possible. You know, like the sea level rising, like the ice melting, like all of these things that are just coming together like a sort of like little scenes in a movie that you edit together with film footage, and then you just, you know, make a story out of it. That's pretty much how these dreams have been happening to me for years. And I've learned from experience that when I don't listen, something bad always happens. So I'm getting out of here, people. You know, this is video footage I'm showing you from Hurricane Wilma in 2005 when I rode out the storm. And, you know, we were really lucky. I mean, the storm hit in our neighborhood as a mild Category 3. I think the highest winds were about 120 miles an hour. It did some damage, but it could have been a lot worse. And I wouldn't even want to imagine what it would be like to be in a Category 4 or 5 hurricane, or some kind of weird anomaly storm that just could pop up out of nowhere because of, you know, climate change, or the sea level rising, or the ice melting, or some kind of earthquake, tsunami scenario. I wouldn't even want to be in Florida. And like I said, Florida is a low area. It's surrounded by water. Why would you even want to risk it? Why would you even want to risk staying here? But that's what I see in my dreams. In my dreams, over and over, I see that no matter what happens, people continue to live here. They continue to try to build here. They continue to try to appease themselves and tell themselves that everything's going to be alright. And I think millions, maybe hundreds of thousands, or even millions of people could die if they don't heed the warning to get out of Florida while you still have a chance. You know, go to high ground. Don't risk it. You know, don't sit there and say, oh, I got to think about my family. I don't have time to live in fear. So that's what a lot of people always say to me. I don't have time to live in fear. I'm like, live in fear? You don't live in fear if you get prepared. It's only common sense if you just take the time to do a little research and keep your family safe. People are so silly. I just don't understand them sometimes. I just don't understand why people continue to do the same things over and over and over, no matter what happens. You know, me, I gotta be honest, back in 1999, when I started having all these dreams, and even for years since then, I mean, I'm like Jonah and the whales, like God's trying to tell me something, and I just keep trying to revert back to, you know, living my life the way I want to live it, but I can't do that anymore because I've just seen too much, and I don't want to be responsible if I'm supposed to say something. And I hope that this video will at least get people thinking about it and do their own research. If you live in Florida, start looking into these things. Look into what's causing the sea level to rise. Look into, you know, possible disaster scenarios that could hit Florida, and realize, you know, the government's not going to take care of you. FEMA's not going to come in and save you, and your insurance company, the first thing they're going to try to do is try to weasel out of paying you. I've seen it. I've been to Pensacola. I was in Gulfport, Mississippi. I've been to these places that got hit by major storms and major catastrophes, and I see what the insurance companies do. They try to weasel out of paying everybody. You know, they'll try to find some little stipulation that'll keep you from getting the money that you need to rebuild your life. Why even risk it? You know, this is, you know, just a mild Category 3 that I rode out in Naples, Florida, and I'll never do that again. It was stupid. It was not very smart. Had that storm just shifted a little bit north, we were on the north end of the eye wall, so the wind was blowing out to sea, but had it shifted just a little bit north, we would have been under 18 feet of water. So, heed the warning, people. Do your own thinking. Think for yourself. I hope this video helps some people out there. Thank you.